Bam. Huben GK1 versus Evanix Viper. Both 22 cal, semi-automatic PCP pistols. Both new for this year, and there has just been a lot of buzz about both of these guys. But is one better than the other? Maybe for you, maybe for me. I don't know. For anybody? Let's go. Let's put them head to head, and let's see. All right, so here we are. We're going to get the guns loaded up, and that's where we kind of have to discuss the first advantage or difference in one versus the other, and that is here with the Evanix Viper. We have got a removable magazine. Got a 7-shot magazine here in 22 cal, and you can get as many of these as you need. Throw them in your pocket and quick reloading that way. Now in 22 cal, this is a 19-shot magazine, but it's non-removable, so to load it, you have to come around to this side, flip up this guy right here, and you need to be careful not to do it too fast because that can potentially snap off right there. It's not very thick piece of metal, and I would just caution you to be very ginger with this when you're moving it back and forth. Then you come around to this side and you load your pellets in right there, just one at a time. Rotate it a couple of clicks as you go. So that's the loading process on that, and as you imagine, that is much more time consuming than just popping this guy out right here, slapping some pellets or slugs in it, whatever you got, and slapping it back in there, ready to rock. Now, the disadvantage on the Viper is that you get a lot less shots. It doesn't look like it really because, you know, we've got air in here and air in here, but this does hold a lot more air, or it's just more efficient at using it. With this Evanix Viper, usually per fill about 4 7-shot magazines. So that's how many shots maximum you can kind of expect to get out of the Viper. And on the Huben, depending on my tune, I can get down to 12 foot-pounds with this guy and over 120 shots per fill. So way more tunable and way more shots. Now, moving right into the tunability, I can tune this 22 cal all the way down to 12 foot-pounds and all the way up to about 75 foot-pounds out of the 22 cal. Now, with the Viper, you're pretty much stuck at right around a max of maybe 17, 20 foot-pounds maximum. And really you can't tune it down a whole lot more than that. The only adjustment is just the hammer adjustment right there. And just depending on what weight of pellets you're shooting is kind of what you make an adjustment back there in accordance with, but not really so much for power. Really, I would count on saying an average of about 17 foot-pounds out of the Viper. So power difference is huge between the Huben and the Viper. So let's go ahead and throw some of these pellets in here on each of them, and we'll show you guys what a 5-shot group looks like with both of them at about 10 yards. So today I had both the guns tuned. I tuned down the Huben so that it matched the power of the Viper, and we shot some 10-yard accuracy using the H&N Barracuda 15s. I shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots over here. I did actually, this shot was part of my kind of 3 cider shots that fell a little high, so I just did an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really right here to do a 5-shot group. And then I brought it over here and shot the slugs, and those just went kind of crazy. The H&N 21 grain slugs, one right on the bullseye, but one high, one left, 2 right. Not amazing. Down here, we did the same thing with the Huben, and we shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there with the H&N Barracuda 15s, and then we threw the same 21 grain slugs in there and did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there like that. Another thing we should talk about here are the sights. The Evanix sights, they actually are not that amazing. I find myself having to aim a lot underneath where I'm wanting to hit for whatever reason, and they're not adjustable. So we've got a rear sight. I painted these 2 little white dots on there, and on the front sight I also added that red dot on there myself. I think now the new versions of these are coming from the factory with painted sights, so that's cool. Good job, Evanix. Thumbs up to you for that. But you can see that it's just a little bit not as awesome getting the sight picture as this guy is right here. We've got a nice bright sight, a clean notch. That front sight is day glowing, very bright, fiber optic. And then the rear sight, get that back into focus, is actually fully adjustable. So we've got adjustability and just a much better sort of way to get your sight on target right there. I think that hopefully is coming across on camera for you guys, just how much easier it is with this guy. That definitely, the Huben is a lot easier to see over than the Evanix, because I think I would have been able to get better groups if this one was easy to see as this one is. So to give it a little bit more of a fair shot here and showing you guys some decent accuracy, I'm going to show you this clip here that I shot using the Viper and an Axion red dot on the top. And you can see that by throwing a red dot on here, it's a lot easier to really dial in a much better group. This was actually a 14 shot group that I shot here, and you can see it came out pretty decent. Same situation, a little bit different pellets, but you can see the gun is not an inaccurate gun. With the Evanix Viper, look at that group. That is dang decent. 10 yards offhand. All shots over the chronograph. That is just beautimous. On the Huben, it says right here, long range shooting air rifle. And this thing can definitely get out and touch some long ranges, even for a pistol. I've easily shot this at 100 yards and wouldn't even second guess shooting it out farther than that. Coming over here to get the guns reloaded again, and it reminds me of another advantage of having a removable magazine versus a non-removable magazine, and that is just it makes the gun so much more safe. With the Huben, it's kind of a pain in the butt really to get all the pellets out of it to unload the gun any other way than just to shoot it. So anytime you're working on the gun, if you didn't do that, I mean, you're leaving the gun loaded all the time. It's a pain in the butt. With the Evanix Viper, just take the magazine out and you're unloaded. I mean, to me, that's just kind of cool. Makes a definite advantage over the one versus the other, because on the Huben, what'll happen is if you shoot it too low on the air, it'll sort of decock itself, and then when you go to refill it, it'll cock itself and sometimes fire around. And I've had that happen. Luckily, the gun was unloaded, because I make myself the habit of always unloading it every time that happens. But if you get one, you'll see what a pain it is to unload this thing versus the Viper, just popping the magazine out. So between the Huben and the Viper, Viper definitely wins in the safety category. It's much easier to make this a safe gun than the Huben. All right, so let's see what the Huben comes out on the scale for us. Right there, 2.3 pounds for the Huben. All right, next up we got the Viper here on the scale. Let's see how this one does. 2.5 pounds. I had a feeling this was going to be just a smidge heavier, and it is. Maybe a little bit more metal in the construction. I mean, I know these Evanixes are really built like tanks. Definitely, I've never had really anything break per se on any of my Evanix guns, so I know they're built very well, and it's 0.2 of a pound heavier for that reason. So there you go. Another thing we should talk about is making these quiet, because neither of these are what I would call backyard friendly just right out of the box. Now the Evanix comes right from the factory with the threaded end there on the muzzle. Just pop that end cap off, throw whatever quarter 20 moderator you want on there, and this guy right here instantly becomes very quiet. Now on this guy, the Huben, the adapter there is not something that comes included. It's an extra little part that you would need to purchase. So if you don't happen to pick that up when you get this gun, you're not going to be able to shoot this thing in your backyard without alerting your neighbors for sure. So you can, of course, add that on. It's a simple mod. Add the threaded end cap on there. And then, as you can see, very easily, and then as you can see very easily, it has the quarter 20 threads on there as well. So both of these you can and will want to make quieter. It's just the Evanix, you don't have to buy anything extra to do it. All right, so something else we got to talk about on these guns is getting them filled back up. Now, when it comes to getting the Huben topped back off, you're going to need close to about 5,000 PSI to get this guy maxed out all the way up on the gauge, and that's how you achieve the most power if you're going for max power. Also how you achieve the most shots if you're going for high shot count. Of course, you don't have to fill it all the way to there. You know, if you're not going for the absolute maximum power, you could fill it lower, but to top this off, you need 5,000 PSI. Now on the Evanix, you can see this one's red in bar, but the equivalent of that 250 bar is about 3,500 PSI, give or take. So we're going from right around 3,500 PSI to, right at 5,000 PSI. This Evanix is going to be easier on my equipment to fill up. So there you have it. Evanix easier to fill than the Huben, but less shots, less power. Now another thing to mention is that the Evanix is made in South Korea. And it doesn't say here on the Huben, but on the box it does say made in China. So we've got South Korea made and China made. If that matters to you guys at all, it's just worth mentioning. All right, well, there you guys have it. I like both of these pistols for different reasons. I think that the Huben is better than the Viper, and I think that for other reasons, the Viper's better than the Huben. So, I mean, no real clear winner, but definitely some differences and advantages to one versus the other. Hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me here today. If you like this video, definitely check out one of the other two up on the screen right now. More cool airgun stuff, shooting stuff for y'all. I'll see you over there.